How static pricing is quietly destroying restaurant profit.
In this video, you'll understand the real crisis behind static pricing in a highly volatile restaurant market and what needs to change to protect margins at the level of every single dish. We'll show you how the supply chain instability makes monthly menu updates obsolete, where the invisible margin bleed begins as ingredient costs fluctuate, and why the shift needed from traditional gut feeling management to data-driven operational precision. By the end, you'll see not just the problem, but exactly where profits start slipping and how to stop it.
In the next few minutes, you'll see what's missing when profits don't stay consistent, how static pricing works and where it starts to fail, what happens inside operations when costs move up or down, how this impacts the customer experience, and why this needs an immediate fix.
Every restaurant menu hides a secret. A dish that looks profitable might actually be losing money today, and the owner may not even know it.
Here's why. Most restaurants use something called static pricing. It works like this.
One day, the owner calculates the cost of making a dish. Ingredients, labor, utilities, everything. They add a margin, and that becomes the menu price.
Then the price is locked. For months, sometimes even for an entire year.
Sounds reasonable, right? Except for one problem. The cost of making that dish refuses to stay still.
In the real world, restaurant costs behave more like waves in the ocean. Energy prices spike, food inflation rises, supply chains break, tariffs shift, labor costs increase, wastage creeps in. Every single day, the cost moves. Up, down, up again. But the menu price? It stays frozen.
Imagine selling price as a straight line and cost as a wild wave moving above and below it. Your margin lives between those two lines, and every time the cost spikes, the margin gets squeezed. Sometimes it disappears completely.
But here's the scary part. Most restaurant owners don't actually know when that happens. They only see the selling price. Ingredient costs are changing constantly behind the scenes, which means the most important number in the business, profit per plate,
Is often a complete mystery.
Menu planning then turns into educated guesswork. And in a volatile market, guesswork becomes dangerous. Let's look at what happens inside the kitchen. Sometimes ingredient costs drop sharply. The kitchen sees the opportunity and prepares larger volumes of the dish.
But the menu price stays static. Waiters can't stimulate extra demand, so customers order the usual amount. By closing time, several prepared portions remain unsold. Fresh food doesn't last long.
What could have been higher sales and better margins quietly turns into waste and declining profits. Other days, ingredient costs shoot through the roof. Now the restaurant has a choice.
Discontinue discount suddenly, or stop selling the dish entirely.
Both are bad options. Sudden discontinuing of discounts angers loyal customers. Removing items disappoints guests. Meanwhile, low-margin dishes continue occupying valuable fridge space. Top-selling items remain underpriced. Supply disruptions shrink menus, and profits quietly bleed away in the background.
All because the pricing system assumes something that simply isn't true. That cost behaves like a straight line.
In reality, it never does.
And the industry knows it. Ask restaurant owners about their exact profit per dish, per day. Many will admit something surprising. They don't have that visibility, not because they're careless, but because static pricing hides the truth.
Now imagine a different system.
Instead of prices staying frozen, what if they adapted to real costs? Daily, transparently. If guests understood that prices reflect real market conditions, something interesting happens. Demand naturally balances itself. Restaurants avoid panic price hikes, menus stay more stable, and profits become predictable again.
The real enemy here isn't inflation, or supply chains, or even food costs. It's a pricing system designed for a stable world that no longer exists.
Static pricing once made menus simple, but today it might be one of the biggest invisible profit leaks in the restaurant industry.
And until restaurants rethink how they price their food,
Margins will keep bleeding, quietly, plate by plate.
By now, you've seen what's really happening beneath the surface. You understand what's missing when profits don't stay consistent, how static pricing works and where it begins to fail, how cost fluctuations distort daily operations, the impact it creates on customer experience, and why this problem can no longer be ignored. More importantly, you can now see where margins actually start to bleed, not just at the business level, but at every single dish. This isn't just a pricing issue, it's a system problem, and fixing it starts with rethinking how pricing responds to reality.
When costs move, pricing must follow, or margins will keep bleeding.